Oh, shit. Excuse me. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Great day to be alive. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm blessed. It is a great day to be alive.
I'm ready to take the test for the you can see me the chapters I need to read for co-op philosophy.
Wait, say that again?
Well, I read the material. It said before you become an investor, you need to at least read the 1 through 4 chapters on co-oping.
Um, no, there wasn't anything about co-oping. Um,
Co-ops.
no, nope, nothing
No?
about co-ops. We do have educational modules that
Yeah, education modules. Yeah.
once you become a member of an investment club, um, then there are three um, educational modules. The
Okay.
first one is just what is financial independence, and then it breaks down what the definition is, our definition, which is accumulating enough cash flowing assets that generate enough monthly cash flow so that you can afford to live the way you want without having to work. And we teach how to calculate your um, financial independence number, right? That's your destination. And then we talk about developing an asset accumulation plan. How do you accumulate those income producing assets? So we teach on that. The second module is self discipline because we can develop a plan for you, but if you don't have the self discipline to stick to it, then you just wasted everybody's time. And it talks about the importance of changing habits and the importance of a support group, which your investment club and the investment club network can become. And then the last one, which is really the most important one, is how to evaluate an investment opportunity. And so it teaches how to identify the risk and what different type of risks are there, how to manage and shift those risks. And so that's by far the most important one because you have to take tests on all of them. You had to get a 70% in order to pass. But when you pass the third one, now we can label you as a sophisticated investor. And that's an important term per the SEC, which means you can now participate in the private offerings that we offer to investment club members because you either have to be accredited or if you're unaccredited, you have to be a sophisticated investor with the education or experience to understand the risk associated with an investment.
I see.
So, but if you're ready to, either join an investment club or create your own investment club, if you have an entity that has its own tax ID number, then after the meeting, I'll email you um, a simple application, and then we take it from there.
Yeah, I'm interested in joining one, not having one of my own yet.
Okay, no problem. And so the other two members that are here, Stefan and Sally, they're both associated with my companies. Sally is actually the CFO of the BNIC Network. You want to say hello, Sally? Oh, Sally. Maybe she's just not paying attention. And Stefan is actually an intern with Help Keep My Money, the consulting business. Stefan, you want to say hello?
I'm here, Michael. I'm sorry. I was just trying to find my unmute. How are you today? Oh,
I
say
am
hello to
blessed.
everyone. You're right. And I'm not sure, is it the other Michael? What? I'm sorry, who am I speaking to?
Yeah, my
I
name
know
is
it's,
Michael Simpson. Yes,
hi, hi, Mr. Simpson. How are you?
just fine.
Great, great.
And then Stefan says he's experiencing some mic difficulties. He might have to just go out and come back in.
Yeah, and Mike, before you begin your presentation, I kind of agree with you on the Midwest. I looked at Good Morning America. They had the hottest 10 areas in the nation for people to live, or where real estate sells the quickest. And like 3 or 4 of the cities were in the Midwest.
Oh yeah.
I think I
So
emailed that to you. Did you get the communication from me? Maybe not.
you said you sent me an email.
Yeah, no, I probably did it in WhatsApp.
Um, let me just double check real quick.
But it's interesting. Some of the Northeast cities are getting very hot too, in Massachusetts and those places. Did I put it in the WhatsApp? I can't remember
Yeah,
now.
yep. I'm looking at it.
Oh, you're
I'm
looking
looking.
at it. Okay.
Yep. Ohio, Missouri. Um, yeah, Ohio and Missouri are the top 1 and 2. Um, yeah, and so and when Stephen gets back on, he'll introduce himself. But we do analysis about every other month um, on all the zip codes in the United States to make sure that we're still focusing on the right ones, specifically in Detroit, because they will change slightly. But um, I do want to show you something. Um, Let me get to it real quick. Let me find it. So each month, Zillow comes out with information about markets that you follow. So I follow the Detroit market, and so um, where are we at? Why do I not see it? Because it shows what the current values are versus what they were a year ago, and so that way you can easily calculate um, what the appreciation has been. But I don't see where I saved these. Maybe I saved them in my email. But I just wanted to give you, you know, um, an unbiased opinion about um, Detroit and how quickly it's appreciating. So just give me 1 minute. Let me find it. Detroit should be here. Yeah. And let me share my screen. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to pull out the little calculator. And so this is 48205. So a year ago, the properties were worth 47,000. Now they're worth 54,000. So all we do is we calculate the difference, which is almost $7,500, and we divide it by last year's value, multiply that by 100, and that's the percentage increase, almost 16% appreciation since last year. Okay. And so that's 48205. And then I'm sure that that's more. So here's 206. So you can see a comparison. And again, you just do the same calculation. 4730 minus 83,318 divided by 15 times 100. That's 14% appreciation in that zip code. And I think this is my favorite zip code, 48238. So let's do that one. 347, 6.9 divided by 37, 6.9 times 100. 16%. So not only are these properties generating, a 15% cap rate just on the rental income, they're also appreciating at around 15%. So it's the best of both worlds. So
that's great information. Yes.
So Mike, any specific questions, scenarios that you have?
You know what I hear a lot, Mike, that, these cities that do have a lot of Section 8 vouchers, a lot of people are not using them. Like they say, like 50% of Section 8 vouchers aren't being used. So how does that affect our investment in housing for, people getting on their feet, the Section 8 population?
Yeah.
Is that true statistic?
I have not heard that statistic. I've heard just the opposite, that there are not enough eight vouchers, and so there are waiting lists. And so
Yeah, I've heard that too. But out here in Long Beach, with adjacent city of mine, they're going to have a Pacific program. Why, when you have your voucher, you're looking for a place they're going to give you some income. Because a lot of people with Section 8 vouchers are living in their cars or homeless till they find some place to live. And that's when that statistic bounced up, at least here in California. 50% of the vouchers they have them, but nobody's found a place to live in.
because there's not enough supply of housing.
Okay.
Right. So that's one of the problems in Detroit. There's not enough housing to meet the demand of Section 8 vouchers. So I know that specifically in Detroit. So here, I will share my share my screen again. And let's see what we have here. So Detroit Housing Commission is the #1 issuer of Section 8 vouchers in Detroit, though there are multiple housing authorities that issue Section 8 vouchers. And so says that there are 6,459 Detroiters that have Section 8 vouchers as of April that they can use anywhere in Michigan and the entire state. But only 5,009 are successfully using them because finding a suitable home whose owner accepts vouchers can be challenging. And then you got another 4,200 people on the Section 8 wait list and can expect to wait anywhere between 2 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm. I see.
And that's directly from the Detroit Housing Commission. There's just not enough affordable housing in Detroit. And so our plan is to specifically build turnkey affordable housing rental properties and target Section 8. I mean, it's like low-hanging fruit.
So you're meeting the demand.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a and we get to achieve several things at the same time. So not only, are we able to create a profit for our clients, of at least 15% cash on cash return. And that's just if you hold the property, not taking into account if you've flipped the property or sell the equity in the property, right? So you're able to make a double-digit return, but we're able to create much needed affordable housing, and we're able to target specific areas and neighborhoods where we can start rebuilding Black neighborhoods and keep them Black, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stop the gentrification, and at the same time, we can stabilize the rent, right? There's enough meat on the bone for everybody to eat. We don't have to be greedy. We don't have to jack up the rent prices, right? Um, Everybody wins in this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we're about. We're about, building sustainable communities. Ultimately, um, building or putting modular homes on vacant lots is the ultimate goal. But for right now, we'll do it the old traditional way. We'll buy a distressed house, preferably between $10,000 to $15,000. We'll put, you know, um, $30,000 to $35,000 into it as far as rehabbing it. It'll take a couple of months, and then the property management company will market it. And they've been doing this since '06, more than 300 properties, mainly out-of-state investors. Um, and this is their sweet spot. $50,000, 3 bedroom, 1 bath, 1,000 square feet. They do this all day, every day, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Any other specific questions?
No, no more Pacific questions. Are you going to do a presentation today?
Well, it's really around you, and so I tried to make
Around
yeah,
me.
yeah, because it's you and us. And I
I
tried to
feel
tell
so
you.
special.
You should.
Yeah, and so you know, if I can answer any questions you have, we can talk about the investment club more and how that process works. Um, it's totally up to you. Whatever information that you want to glean for the next half an hour.
But yeah, so what's going to go on in Springfield with those comments? Will the property going to be cheaper in Springfield, Ohio? That was a crazy episode. What's your take on that? I know it's kind of, well, it does affect investment. Yeah, when you talk about immigrants and like that.
So it's funny that you mentioned Springfield and Trump's comment about the Haitians coming in and eating up people's pets, right? So I have a close associate who's lives in Springfield, and he's Haitian. He's been there, I don't know how many years, but his mother um, leads the effort in assisting Haitian immigrants. She's done
Huh.
it from the very first one. She knows there's probably about 20,000 Haitian immigrants in Springfield specifically, and she
Oh,
like knows all of them. Okay. Um, and and so he just presented me earlier today with a $40 million um, grant opportunity to provide services to the Haitian immigrant community in Springfield.
what do you know?
Exactly.
Huh.
And so, again, another great opportunity to provide affordable housing, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so there's opportunity in Springfield. So after Detroit, Ohio is the next market that we'll go into. And there's probably like 5 or 6 cities that we're focusing and that we've identified for Ohio. Um,
Hmm.
Springfield wasn't on the list because it wasn't big enough, but it'll probably be on the list now.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
You want to take advantage of opportunities as they present themselves.
And
Yeah.
what type of services are you going to provide? Do they want?
So he was man, he ran the gamut. Um, let me see real quick because I had it up here. Hold on. I'll read you some of the services as soon as I find it.
Because I definitely can't see those rednecks want to give up any of their land to sell any, for affordable housing for Haitians, uh, any other group as far as that goes.
Yeah, you're right about that, but it's just a matter of finding the right place and having the right connections, um, which is more, which is probably the most important thing is just the right connections, right?
Yeah,
And
gotta have it.
and so the areas that they're talking about is establishing micro business incubators to support 1,000 Haitian entrepreneurs over 5 years. Um, host annual Haitian cultural events, art shows, and music events. Offer vocational training programs focusing on skilled trades for 2,000 Haitians. Expand ESL programs in schools and community centers to serve 5,000 individuals. Establish community gardens and urban farming projects involving 500 families. Ensure culturally competent healthcare services are available to 20,000 Haitians. Offer civic education and leadership development programs to 1,000 Haitians. Expand driving education and licensing programs in Haitian Creole. Establish regular legal assistant clinics for immigration and legal issues. Partner with schools to include Haitian history and culture in the curriculum. So all in all, it's about a $60 million cost over 5 years.
Wow.
And as you can see, there was not any mention of real estate in there,
Yeah.
right? And so they got to live somewhere,
Yeah.
right? And they want to basically have the opportunity to do what every other culture does when they come to the United States, right? They form their own community, right? That's why we
Right.
got Chinatown, Koreatown, um, you know, all these other different areas
And
in every
community.
major city where
Hmm.
a culture will go and they will buy property and they'll lease out stores to um, businesses that support their culture. We the only ones that don't do that.
Right. That's
We'll
awful.
allow anybody to come in to set up shop in our culture, take our money, and then take it back to where they came from.
Exactly.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah. Well, I think that we, as an African American community, would try to do that. But you always have um, those strings, those puppeteers in the background pulling strings that's making it very difficult for us to do so. But it's not until we kind of cut those strings. We got to come together as a people, though, cut those strings of the puppeteers, and we have to make things happen where others don't. They have things handed to them. And we're very creative people. We'll come up with something.
Yeah,
And I
our
think
number one.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike. Were you saying something, Mike?
No, I wasn't saying anything. No.
No, that was me trying to finish up what I was saying.
Go
Um,
ahead.
no, I was just saying that, this right here, I think is possibly an opportunity, um, maybe for, African Americans and the Haitian community to try to come together because, just from, some of the Haitians that I've met, and my husband's met, and it's like everyone else, they've been given an idea or a presentation of what the African American people or community is about. And, even if they're, Mexicans or whatever, they just kind of put them on a little higher pedestal, to where they come in with these prejudiced ideas of who we are as African Americans. And, it's hard to try to make try to come together and work together because they see us just a little bit less than them, and they have the opportunities sometimes given to them, and they're seeing how they can work together as a community, and we as a distressed people, uh, due to our heritage and all the experiences that we've received from generations, how we don't work together. So they look down on us in that aspect. So and it makes it difficult to even try to come together and work on that aspect. But we have work to do in our own community. But I think opportunities are there for us to start trying to come together because we do, although we have our problems, we do try to advocate for other people. You
Amen.
know, we do.
So,
Yeah.
I'm a self-proclaimed Black nationalist and Pan-Africanist.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay? And so, as a Black nationalist, when I am dealing with members of my Black community, I practice cooperative group economics,
Right.
which means I'm not trying to maximize my profit. I'm trying to maximize the benefit to my community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means there's enough meat on the bone for everybody to eat. Um, but when I'm dealing outside of my community, I'm a straight capitalist. I'm trying to take as much money from you as possible so that I can bring it to my community.
There you go.
That's very good.
Okay?
Yeah.
Straight up. Because that's how every other culture acts.
That's true.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so we are the only ones in America that don't act like that because we've been programmed not to trust each other.
That's true.
We have
That's the
not
word.
um, we have not practiced cooperative group economics since the 60s, since the Black
Mm-hmm.
Panther and the Black Power movement, right? But there is a coordinated effort to make sure that there is not Black unity in the Black community. J. Edgar Hoover said the number one threat internally to the United States is Black unity.
That's right.
Can we, no, under no circumstances can we have another Black Messiah?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And you can look at the last 50 plus years, and the the only real leader that stood out during this last 50 years was Farrakhan in the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Farrakhan came to the LA Coliseum, 60,000 people, no violence. He brokered the truce between the Bloods and the Crips. He did the Million Man March, again, no violence. He visited every African nation because he was coordinating.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, you didn't hear nothing from him.
You wonder why that is. How do they and how do you think they diffused the Bloods and the Crips? Okay. It's the same way they diffused Farrakhan.
No,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
because they 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 don't want, what's the word? They don't want to necessarily go ahead and kill that leader, okay, because they make him a martyr. And
right.
so, right? And so, then you got a whole new um, can of worms that's opened up with people that were following now, especially, with the Muslims and everything, that could have been a serious problem coming up in this country. So they diffuse it by giving them monies and positions and, you know, acting jobs and all that. Because, at least I think, they called themselves the Bloods and the Crips, but they were protecting their communities at that time. So now they're not protecting their communities; they're killing their people in their communities, right? So when we wake up out of the stupor at some point and see all of we should have had enough education of what they've done to us over all these years, to see it from a distance, when they start coming at us, with monies and gifts and stuff like that. And they're, I'm sorry, and they're white women, so excuse me, or men, for those who might have all that going on, because that's the biggest kryptonite to a black leader, male or female. Biggest
Amen.
kryptonite. Yeah,
And,
it kills it.
and so the thing is, though, and it's like you said, Sally, we know their playbook is called COINTELPRO,
Yes.
and it hasn't changed. It just went underground, and then they called it, you know, the crime, the war on drugs, the war on crime. It's just a war to break up the black family because the black family is the unit of the black community, right? Break up
Yeah,
the black family, you'll throw the black community in disarray, which we have been in for the last 50 years.
absolutely.
Um, and in my lifetime, because I was born in 71, and that's when um, President Nixon declared the war on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so in my lifetime, in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a resurgence of Black Power um,
Mm-hmm.
through rap music, and they quickly quelled that
Mm-hmm.
by, you know, um, buying the artists
Mm-hmm.
and making sure that there would be no progressive pro-black music um, played on the radio or even produced.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Only thing you're going to hear is that gangster rap stuff. We want them to continue to kill themselves, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they took over rap music in 1992 in the riots. Again, this was around Farrakhan's real stardom, because I was part of an initiative that he deployed, called the Power Network in Los Angeles, and unfortunately, it fell apart during the summer of '92. Um, and then, like I said, after Farrakhan's Million Man March, um, you didn't hear nothing from him.
Nothing
Uh,
else.
and so we go through the rest of the '90s and the beginning of the 2000s, um, you know, not doing anything and not hearing anything, no movements, right? Um, and then in 2016, Farrakhan did have another movement called the 10,000 Fearless Movement. I was actually part of that in my city of Lancaster. We actually set the example nationwide for the implementation of a new type of legal entity to be used rather than a nonprofit. We used a for-profit benefit company, and I showed them um, You can have members of the company, which are owners, um, either give their time or their money. One of the two.
Mm-hmm.
One of the
Mm-hmm.
two. Right? Because everybody don't have money, but if you ain't got money, maybe you got time. A lot of people don't have time, but they got money.
Right.
And it was multicultural because
Mm-hmm.
this is what Farrakhan said, right? And but then that got blew up because there were some gays involved, and so the religion kicked in,
Mm-hmm.
um, and so that was a wasted opportunity. That whole movement, because there's like 119 um, uh, Nation of Islam mosques around the country. They are the most organized and disciplined Black organization in the United States. And yet, all you hear from them is slanging bean pies and the final call.
Absolutely. And another thing, one thing that we really don't think about. My husband brought it up. Well, that the OI that they're their security people. What do they call? FOI?
Yeah, for the Islam.
Yeah, Freedom of Islam. But most of them got their start um, in prison,
Right,
right? Absolutely. So most of them are not able to carry guns or weapons to protect themselves.
right.
Okay, so how against a nation that are um, they that's all they know is violence and stuff like that. How can you have security against a nation that are warmongers when you
And,
cannot fight against that? You don't have the security that you say you have.
and so you have to implement other countermeasures and other strategies. That's all. And so strategists just have to again develop different strategies, different countermeasures, different tactics. We live in a world of technology, and so there are um, more weapons than just guns.
This is true. And see, and one of the weapons I think that um, we have been given at this point here, as far as trying to come together. I mean, I saw a movement happening in 2019
Hmm.
uh, where you know because of COVID, uh, knowledge became very open out there, and and knowledge abound. So people had started coming together, and I saw as far as myself, people getting more educated, highly educated, becoming more financially stable to where they can use that knowledge. Now they're just not seeing themselves as um, in this country, but we are global people. We always have been, but it was just hidden from us, that knowledge, right? And so now that you see that you are a global people and you can reach back to your anchor and start working and creating relationships with our people worldwide. That's where I think our strength comes. And in those countries that Trump so elegantly called S-hole countries, um, we can supply them with some of the to them we are very wealthy people. Okay, um, to us, they have they have the knowledge and the skills in areas that if you marry the two, we could become truly a great nation within this country and in our country in Africa. So that's another avenue that is given to us. But we have to be able to see it, and not only build in this country as we have always done, but we also need to build in our mother country as well, because that's where our truly that's where our protection is. Because once we help educate them, and they're waking up too, big time. So it still has a lot to be seen yet.
So there are companies and groups that are finally organizing African American money to invest in African projects,
Surely.
right? Um, and I think that part of that stems out of COVID and all of us being online, and so it shrunk the world. Instead of the 6 degrees of separation, it's like 2 degrees of separation. It's easier to get in
Mm-hmm.
contact with people. Um, and after George Floyd's public execution, there was actually a movement and a desire to
Mm-hmm.
come together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but here comes their playbook,
No, they always got one now.
right? And they basically took over the national organization of Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Um, but they couldn't take over the individual chapters because the individual chapters weren't run by the national organization. But it caused, enough confusion. National organization was suing the chapters, and the chapters were suing them back, saying they never got any of the money that the national organization had collected, and blah blah blah. And so it just put a bad name on Black Lives Matter, right?
Yeah.
Um, but the interesting thing was Black Lives Matter was a decentralized organization versus all of the prior Black organizations that were centralized. It was easy. You either take over the head or you cut it off. You
Mm-hmm.
either take
Mm-hmm.
over the head of the NAACP or you cut off the head of the Black Panther Party,
Yep. And
right?
and they've done that. Yep.
And so it was interesting just to see how it played out. Um, and there weren't enough of us Black nationalists, Pan Africanists, that were ready and had a plan to take advantage of that opportunity when it presented itself. Because not only did we have the opportunity for Black unity, we also had the opportunity of white guilt,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And so, um, and that's where what are the DEI programs came out,
Yeah.
and you saw how quickly those faded.
Yep.
Yep,
Surely.
I did.
Right?
Yes.
As soon as those companies started, having weak sales and started losing money, we got to cut back on this DEI stuff. I was like, man, and
That's
and
true.
we as Blacks, we're not organized enough to then boycott. Hey, you cut your program, that's fine. We're gonna cut shop, buying your product or service.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's where we miss out. We don't control our economic arm here in the United States because we spend it, but we just spend it not wisely. So I think that's something we sorely need some help in. Talking about plans, so if Kamala gets elected, do we have any plans or thing to give her to invest in our community, or is this going to be hit and miss? I mean, what's the agenda for us if she's elected?
The
Have
same,
you heard
the
anything?
same, the same thing that the Democrats have done for the last 50 years. Nothing,
Nothing.
nothing.
That's true.
So Ice Cube, as part of the 2020 election, wrote the contract with Black America. He went and got experts in different fields of economics to develop this economic plan. And he presented it to both the Democrats and the Republicans and said, hey, we're not just going to give our vote away to the Democrats anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Democrats, y'all gonna have to earn it. And the Democrats' response was, oh, we'll deal with that after the elections. We just need your vote.
Yeah.
And hey, I can tell you right now, because Ice Cube met with the Republicans out of, however many things he had. They may have only agreed with a couple, and so it wasn't enough to sway any blacks. Had Trump come out and said, I'm going to establish a commission to study reparations, Trump would have won. He would have got enough black votes. Because as a group, two major issues are reparations and qualified immunity for cops. Nobody is addressing those, right? Kamal is not addressing those, but she'll show her support for Israel, her
All the time.
support for Israel,
right? Absolutely.
right?
Okay. What I'm saying.
And so we blacks, we tend to get the short end of the stick. There have been other groups of people that have benefited from the things we started, right?
Everybody has, especially the white women. Yeah.
Well, women, the LBGT and
All
some
of
other initials, they're more organized than the black community. But it all starts with us solidifying our economic base. We spend over $1.5 trillion per year in this nation, but we are the ultimate consumer class because that's what we have been programmed for.
Programmed and conditioned. Yeah.
Okay?
Absolutely.
And if we were a nation, we'd be the 10th largest nation by GDP in the world. We are the tip of the spear when it comes to the African diaspora. Okay? As far as economics, as far as access to technology and those type of things, we are the tip of the spear, but we don't lead. We don't lead. I think the number one thing is ego. Because we live in this capitalist society that teaches us, hey, in order for you to win, somebody else has to lose.
Yeah.
Okay. Crabs in the barrel mentality.
That's it.
And the whole concept of something having economic value based on scarcity rather than based on its utility. Okay. When you value something based on its utility, now it's how useful can it be to the community, right? The happiest nations in the world are the Nordic countries, and they're all socialist countries, right? They take care of their own, but then outside of their country, they're straight capitalists.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it makes sense, right?
So,
but they made that the conditioning in this country, they made it such a dirty word to be a socialist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. To where, oh my God, if you're a socialist, you're the worst person on the planet. You're worse than what's on the bottom of your shoe that you step on, right? So, and unfortunately, we as Black people, when we took care of each other, when we had nobody else that would help us, so we all came together as a community to help each other. And then you had those who, after gaining a little bit of money, a little bit of education or whatever, start an education from this system, and the Europeans here take on the same type mentality and could be the worst towards their own, as we can see.
Yeah.
And that's what's keeping us divided and keeping us held back. So,
As you can see, I got all the fists raised. Power to the people. Um, there is change. There are more people like us that are strategists that are working in the background,
Mm-hmm.
putting together plans, strategies, tactics, and then implementing them. And so,
Gonna
um,
take it.
but we are at our hour. Hey, Mike, I appreciate you
Yeah.
hanging with us for the entire hour. I'm going to send you off the information about becoming a member of one of our investment clubs, so you can start that process.
Yeah, application. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I sure will. Well, you guys, thank you. This has been interesting. I look forward to meeting next week.
Oh,
Most definitely.
wonderful.
All right, you
Thank you.
guys
All right.
have a
Bye-bye.
All right,
blessed Sunday and have a blessed week.
all
Okay.
right, you
Bye-bye.
guys too.
All right,
Take
bye bye.
care.
Bye-bye.